Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. A'udhu Billah Shaitanir Rajim. May God protect us from the cursed one and unnecessary ignorance. Rabbi Ghfirli, my Lord, forgive me. My Lord, forgive my species for all the sins that we are conscious and unconscious of. Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. God, guide me to the direct path. Ya Allah. So, you're listening to a King on Earth talk about the of everything that's here. I think there's nothing more important than that to talk about. And the title of today's episode is a very interesting one. And the main aim is to wonder about what is this crossroad and how from what angle can we see reality that it makes sense for human beings to update the system they were born in, like that makes sense, but then there's the view, how will they update it? And this is where I'm sharing a claim, and this is what the lecture is about. In the title, I've written, updating the system we were born in by noticing the crossroad to an advanced civilization. And so, I find this lecture to be very important because I am sharing a perspective on how humanity, the role of human existence in the world. All right, guys, I don't know why. Oh, there we go. The sound's back. Sound's back. Okay. All right. I was just working on the sound, the audio. So, updating the system we were born in. And then we have, by noticing the crossroad to an advanced civilization. So there's pretty much, we can say, kind of like three ideas here for me to kind of look into. I mean, more than that, but anyways. This is going to be a long lecture, folks. You either commit to it or you don't. So, what does this, YouTuber calling himself Mr. Within have to say? So, dear viewers, first of all, I began this lecture with a prayer. It's because I am Muslim. It's because I acknowledge that we're inside an existential system, and I have confirmed it, at least for myself, in my experience, that there's a system admin here and there's even moderators here. And when you look at human life, it's kind of fascinating because in some sense it's gonna end, and it's a situation where what do you do with what you have while you have it? So right now I was like, yo man, is it a coincidence that we're all humans? All right, let me see how I can get into this. Just a second, folks. Okay. All right, folks. I don't know what to say here. I know what to say, but I don't know how to say it. Here, whatever. Let's just start somewhere. Okay, I'm looking at the human being. That's a simple place to start. We're humans. We're in a world. Okay, let's start from there. Simple. What do we observe about the human being in the world? It has a sort of format. It's like you're a character in a video game. And then there is a game. So it's kind of like you are potential, or let me say it this way, you're like an energetic being, Okay, the body is kind of acting like a container. You know, guys, maybe I should be talking about something else. Yeah, I should be talking about something else. Okay, let me tie it into every human has a value theory, a value system, which is based on that value theory. And so I guess really what life is, it is about human beings wondering about the greatest value. That means I find it interesting. That means when you look at a product, when like right now I'm looking at a car, and when somebody looks at that car, like the real question of it is, what is the value of that car? Okay, so something we have to value is really wondering about what it means that something has value. Okay, because reality has different values in accordance to how it can be utilized. You know, somebody could use like the front of the hammer to hammer in a nail and use the back of the nail to take out the nail. So based on how we use reality, it kind of has a value. And if you ask someone, hey man, what is the value of the world to you right now, it's kind of based on how they are considering a shape to in some sense value it. How do I say it? See, let's go back to the car example. If I ask you, you know, if I ask someone, hey, what is the value of this car, this car, and somebody like that's like a $75,000 car. Okay, so one human being looked at that object, and in some sense the value of that object was $75,000. Now I want you for a moment to consider, somebody looks at the value of that car, and you ask them, like, imagine you ask someone, hey man, what's the value of that car, and they say that my father gifted me this car, and this car is priceless. Do you see? That means the value is not just limited to what people are just using. If we need something with people, we got to kind of agree and enter their realities, right? But when it comes to the consideration of value, I'm pretty much telling you, somebody can look at an object and it could be valueless to them, it could be valuable to them. Somebody who, I don't know this feeling, but if like there's 100% people out there in the world that they probably bought their first car and then bought their second car, and then the person was like, hey man, I'm gonna have a car collection. I'm gonna treat these cars like miniature cars I put on the shelf, but in a giant garage, right? There's people living like that, right? So to them, a simple car may not have value, but to somebody who's like riding a bicycle, like any car has value. Do you understand? So this is very important to consider, like that there's this dynamic in the human being, that it perceives reality, that consciousness is rendering reality into focus, but what we see has different values in accordance to not only how it can be utilized, but who's looking at it. This is why there's this huge problem of truth. Why are human beings even considering truth? Because they have noticed untruth. Do you know what it is? Let me tell you something so bizarre. And I'm somebody who completely different life, completely different history than Ludwig Wittgenstein. But for some reason, read his stuff, I felt like I understood this person. You know, sometimes you understand people not because you have anything in common with them aside from being in a similar state of consciousness. And if you ask me what is the state of consciousness on earth, I'll be like, it's what you're noticing. That's your consciousness. You understand? Like when we look at human life, like, you know, there's people like atheists telling us, yo, buddy, it's an empty room. And we have religious people telling us, no, there's a sad. And we have, in some sense, a species. Like, to me, existence is an op. That means, what is the